I'm Hulk Hogan, the greatest wrestler of all time.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
You're a spaceman, huh?
No, actually, I'm a plumber.
New World Order.
Honestly, I can't go anywhere without getting a boner.
How you doing?
I live my life.
Woo! The Rock says,
Sweet baby Jesus in the office.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Wrestle Rock Podcast. I'm Nostradaben, and I host this episode with my childhood friend Johnny D.
Hey, how's you going, my friend, today?
Yeah, fine.
Sorry for the microphone. So, hey, today we have a special guest.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about Mr. Steve Lombardi, and everyone. We have Mr. Brooklyn Brawler, and we would like to discuss about the Many Faces of Lombardi. So let me introduce yourself, Mr. Brooklyn Brawler. How's you going today?
This is the Brooklyn Brawler, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. This is super awesome that you accept our invitation. We know that you are very busy. And if my memory is good, you are in Michigan today, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. So go ahead with the first question, my friend.
Yeah, of course. First of all, are you a fan of the New York Rangers or New York Yankees while you're living in Brooklyn, New York?
Well, to be honest with you, when I became the Brooklyn Brawler, Bobby Heenan said, wear a Yankee shirt. He said, because people don't like the Yankees, and they would boo you more.
Okay. So that's probably the reason why. Okay, perfect. And we would like to go back and we would like to discuss about your story, your wrestling debut, of course. Where did you, Mr. Saito and Arnold Scahalan, do your wrestling training? So where you learn your wrestling skills, my friend?
Okay, I'll tell you the whole story. This is how it happened. Somebody gave me tickets to Madison Square Garden. I was living in Brooklyn.
Okay.
I'd never been to a wrestling match in my life.
Okay.
So I'm watching the wrestling live. The guy next to me says, "Hey, I could tell you've never been to a wrestling show before." I said, "How can you tell that?" Because you look so intrigued looking at the wrestlers. If you want to meet the wrestlers, they're about 4 blocks from here at the Savoy. It's a bar where all the wrestlers go to right after the Garden show.
Okay.
Wait about 30 minutes, go down there, and you can meet all the wrestlers. So after the show, I was with a couple of friends, and I said to them, "You want to go?" They said, "Sure." I went down there, and in the bar was Mr. Fuji, Arnold Skolin, Jimmy Snuka, Cowboy Bob Thornton Jr. I introduced myself to them, and they kind of blew me off at first.
Nice.
You know, like, don't bother us. You know what I mean? Because we didn't know who I was or anything. I was nobody yet. So I went and I sat down at the bar next to Jimmy Snuka.
Okay.
So Jimmy Snuka, I said, "Jimmy, I just want to let you know I've never been to a wrestling show before, and I admire everything you're doing. And I have a dream that one day I will be a wrestler." And his exact words were, in his voice too, was, "Brother, I just want to tell you, if you have it in your heart, you can do anything you want.
Nice.
If you believe you can be a wrestler, you can do it." That's what Jimmy Snuka told me. So after Jimmy Snuka told me that, I got the dream. That's what I'm going to do.
Nice.
So I kept coming back every week, every month to Madison Square Garden, go into the bar, bugging them. Then finally they told me to show up in Shirley, Long Island. Arnold Skolin told me, show up in Shirley, Long Island. And they threw me in the ring with S.D. Jones. You remember him?
Yeah.
Special Delivery Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
I wrestled him. And, we just, I didn't know anything about wrestling. And, before I went in the ring, they were bumping me around. And Arnold Skolin had had like 3 guys go in the ring and slam me one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. Then he had Mr. Saito come in the ring and give me a belly-to-belly suplex. And I said, holy cow. I mean, when he gave it to me, I felt like this is going to kill me if I do this. So we did that. And then Mr. Saito talks to Arnold. He goes, heavy. And I thought that was a good term because I thought, you know, hey, I'm working out. I'm big. You know what I mean? I'm heavy. No, but it meant I went up very heavy, you know. So I just kept going back and back and back. Within 1 year of going there, I was wrestling in Madison Square Garden. I just fell into the business.
Okay, if I understand, earlier in the interview, you told us that Bobby Heenan was behind the character of Brooklyn Brawler.
Right, Bobby Heenan came up with Brooklyn Brawler,
Okay.
and he came up with the Yankee outfit, and then he told me to come outside the arena and roll around in mud. I said, Bobby, why do you want me to do that? He goes, I want you to be a grimy, dirty, ass-kicking butt wrestler that's scared of nobody. And I just did what he said. So I got all dirty, and my clothes, even when I washed them, they looked dirty, but they were never dirty because I always washed them. But you know, that was the persona they gave me, and then I kept wrestling as the Brooklyn Brawler, and then I had a dream I wanted to wrestle in Madison Square Garden, and then all of a sudden I wrestled in Madison Square Garden against Mad Dog Vachon, first person I ever wrestled in front of in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And then I wrestled there so many times over and over and over. And then eventually I had The Rock's first match. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I did. You know that? Because I believe that your first match was against Mad Dog Vachon. So that's
yes, but Rock's first match was against me.
Okay, nice.
You know, so if you watch, I don't know if you ever watch Young Rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Watch season
2,
episode 8.
Okay.
You're not going to remember, so write it down. Season 2, episode 8.
Okay.
It's called Corpus Christi.
Okay.
So the Rock is going to have his first debut as Dwayne Johnson. He
Okay.
walks in the ring. They start booing him.
Nice.
Now, when they're booing him, I said, don't worry, just follow, watch what I do. So he gets in the ring. I said, do a couple of fancy moves. I throw him in. He ducks my clothesline. He leapfrogs me. He does all kinds of fancy moves. They're still booing him. They're booing him. They're booing him. He says to me, it's not working. I says, I didn't do it yet. Watch. So then all of a sudden I kicked him in the stomach. I beat the hell out of him. I started beating him up so bad. And I beat him up. I left him laying. I flipped him over. I put him in a reverse chin lock. Then he looks up at me and he goes, what do we do now? I said, you shut up. You take your right arm and you start shaking it slowly, and we'll care if the people care about you. So as he's shaking his arm, all the boos began to become cheers. So I turned him from a bad guy to a good guy. By the time he got his hand all the way up, the people were cheering him. The whole arena was. This is in Corpus Christi in 1996. Rock only had $7 in the bank.
Yeah.
And that's why he named his production company $7 Production. So basically, I says, okay, here's your comeback. He threw a few punches, threw me in, gave me an elbow, picked me up, threw me in. I reversed. I went for a backdrop. He gave me a sunset flip, 1, 2, 3. People went crazy. People loved him. 2 days later, he got a big contract.
Nice.
That's the way Rock was born. If you watch the series, you could see us talking in it.
Yeah.
Rock commentates the entire series, and he explains how I had his first match and broke him in, and I broke his dad in WWF too, Rocky Johnson.
So you were a big asset for Mr. Dwayne. So congratulations first, because this is an interesting story, and we didn't know that. So we would like to jump practically 1 decade after. In the mid-90s, Vince McMahon proposed you to replace Matt Bourne as Doink the Clown.
Very good. That's a good story.
Can you share some details about that?
This is how it happened. I was washing my car in the driveway. The phone rings. My wife calls me and she goes, "There's a phone call. It's Vince." I said, "Vince?" She goes, "Yeah." So I said, "Vince, what's up?" He goes, "I need you to do me a favor, pal." I said, "What is it, Vince?" He goes, I need you to fly to Calgary, and I need you to wrestle Bret Hart for the WWF at the time World Heavyweight Championship in his hometown. I said, no problem. I wrestled Bret's debut match in Cincinnati Gardens. I have no problem wrestling Bret. I wrestled him many times. He goes, as Doink. I said, Vince, I don't mind doing that, going to Calgary and wrestling Bret, but it's the paint job that I'm worried about. He goes, ha, ha, ha. He goes, I knew you were going to say that. What we're going to do is we're going to fly you from Detroit to Cleveland, where Matt Bourne's wife is going to give you the outfit. Then we're going to fly you from Cleveland to Stamford, Connecticut, where the base was, where you're going to meet Jill, the makeup girl, and she's going to teach you the whole paint job and give you all the necessities you need.
Okay.
Then we're going to fly you to Calgary. Then you're going to wrestle Bret in the main event for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. It wasn't a televised match. It was a taped match. It was a dark match, we call it, non-televised. So you can't find that on YouTube. But if you ask Bret, he'll tell you the whole story. But that's how I became Doink the Clown. Then I started wrestling as Doink all over the place. Then they sent me overseas as Doink. And that's how Doink was born.
Okay, under the wing of the legendary Bobby the Brain Heenan, share with us an interesting story involving both of you.
Bobby and I?
Yeah, of course.
Well, Bobby was a unique individual. He was very funny. He was fun to be around. He was a great guy. And he told me, you're in my stable now. You know how to wrestle. Now we're going to teach you how to make money. So I followed everything Bobby told me to do. And you know, Red Rooster was part of his family. And then they had a, you know, an argument. And they got, you know, out of it. So he made me attack Red Rooster, beat the hell out of Red Rooster. And then
WrestleMania 5.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. That's when that's when Bobby wrestled Red Rooster in WrestleMania 5.
Yeah.
And then Red Rooster beat him like in 2 minutes, and I jumped in the ring, and then I left Red Rooster laying, and then Red Rooster made a comeback and he threw my hat to the ring.
Yes,
so then they said to me, hey, Vince wants you to do an interview in the back, you know, after what you just did and this and that. And I went in the back. So I go to the Red Rooster threw my hat to the audience, you know, because he started making a comeback. So I went to the back, and Vince goes, where's your hat? I said, I don't know, I must have lost it. He goes, no, you didn't. I watched Terry Taylor throw it to the audience. I say, Vince, you can't turn me into a stooge. I says, I will not say somebody did something, because I'm not going to, make Terry look bad, but I don't have my hat with me. So that's a story that actually happened. So, but that was WrestleMania 5. That's the first time I met Donald Trump, because he owned the building we were in, and it was a great adventure, because I was wrestling Terry Taylor for like a year, and the program was ending. And then when I did that at WrestleMania 5, it renewed the whole angle. It got me another 9 months out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
we know that you have been involved in the career of Kamala. So how did you receive the offer to become Kamala under the persona of Kim Chee, my friend?
Well, it was always a phone call from Vince. he says, we'll bring
once again. Okay.
What's that?
Once again.
Telephone.
Yeah.
He said, it's always the phone call. And he says, we want you to be a safari outfit with a mask, with a safari hat, and then manage Kamala. So I was the Brooklyn Brawler at the time. So I'd be wrestling as Brooklyn Brawler as the first match. And then Kamala was always in the main event against Hulk Hogan or Undertaker. So I would wrestle 2 times in one show, but people would not know that I was the Kim Chee.
Okay.
Now, the funny thing about Kim Chee was he talked, Ugandan, ooga, 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 shanga, ooga. But if Kamala was like, he would go to me, ooga, ooga, and I would call him over to the turnbuckle, and then he would just say to me, Kim Chee, I just forgot everything I was supposed to do, in a normal voice like that. And I said, James, I said, his name was James. I said, James, you go to lock up, the guy's going to go to slam you. He can't slam you. You hit him in the head. You do this. Go for an elbow. He'll move. He goes, gotcha. And I just go, ooga, ooga, go get him, ooga. You know, that's like an inside deal that nobody knows. You know, so that's how that happened.
Funny.
Now Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
Nice.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. In 2005, you were involved for Heidenreich's face turn as a Boston Brawler. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Can you share us this experience?
Yeah, what was his name? Heidenreich.
Yeah, Heidenreich.
Right.
Yeah, he would say poems, and then he called me out to say a poem to me, a real polite poem, this and that, and the company had it written in where I told him his poem was the shits, and a matter of fact, New York is the shits. And I took my shirt off, and I had a Boston shirt on. Then I took my leather cap off, and I had a Boston hat in my pocket, and I put it on, and it was almost a riot. Because New York and Boston hate each other, you know, as far as teams. So that's how the Boston Brawler came along. But I didn't like it because it hurt my Brooklyn Brawler character. But I did a retraction in the magazine to say that it was scripted and it was written. And I really love New York, and I feel, you know, because that's my hometown.
And about baseball, we know that in 1994, you wrestled as Abe Knuckleball Schwartz, a Major League Baseball player. So who's behind the creative of this gimmick?
Okay. Do you remember the movie? You remember the movie years ago, The Warriors?
The Warriors?
Not
In what year? In what year?
Oh, many years ago. You're probably too young for that. But anyway, I came up with the idea as a face painted as a baseball.
Okay.
Damien Demento, do you remember him?
Yeah.
Okay, he was a great artist. I said, Damien, draw me a picture of a face with a baseball on it. I said, and just a face as a baseball. So I knocked on Vince's door, and I said, Vince, look at this. And he put his glasses to the tip of his nose. He looked at the picture, and he goes, very interesting. I'll give it some thought. And I said, can I say one more thing? He goes, go ahead. I said, it's never been done before. And he said, really? And then he did it. So it didn't last but 6 or 7 months because he said there was too much face paint in the company. He had Doink, he had me, he had Gold Dust.
Yeah.
And so I told him, get rid of Doink as a joke.
LOD was there.
You know?
Yes, exactly.
But believe it or not, when I go to autograph signings, that picture sells great.
Probably because this is very, this is a rare tin.
It's nostalgic. It's very nostalgic.
Yeah, very nostalgic, you know.
Yeah, and people like the look of it, you know. And I had a baseball uniform, and it was just interesting. And then Doink the Clown, I told you Abe Knuckleball Schwartz, I told you Kim Chee, I told you Brooklyn Brawler. But there was the Knights, the Red Knights and the Blue Knights with I think it was Jerry the King Lawler against Shawn Michaels with Knights, and I was a Knight also. I was a kangaroo in a kangaroo suit that came in with the Bushwhackers. Nobody knows that. So you actually got some information that no one else has got.
Nice.
And you can find that on YouTube. You can find most of the stuff on YouTube. You can find. I had a match with Shawn Michaels in Madison Square Garden for the World Heavyweight Championship, with Hunter and Chyna on the outside.
Wow!
And that was in front of 23,000 people. And that was an interesting way that happened. I'll give you that story. This is going to be my last big story that you're going to get because they pay me huge money to tell these stories, and I'm giving them to you very, very, very cheap. Okay, we're having a battle royal at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
Now, Ken Shamrock is supposed to beat everyone and go, win the battle royal. Ken Shamrock, actually, I seen him 2 days ago. I reminded him of this. He hurt himself a couple of matches before, so everybody went in Vince's room, including myself, and they said Ken Shamrock cannot win the battle royal because he's hurt. He can't do it. So Vince looks up at me and he says, put over the Brooklyn Brawler. He's local, forgetting that he advertised the winner of the Battle Royal has the World Heavyweight Championship match in the next Garden show.
Okay.
So I went. I was thinking that, but I just went out there and I did it. I think anybody would have. And then when I came out, all the agents told me it would never happen. I went into Vince's room and I told Vince, I said, Vince, you advertised the winner wrestles the world heavyweight champion. He said, you got your match. So I actually got the match with Sean. It was going to be with Bret Hart, but the month after that was the Montreal screw job.
Yeah.
You know about that? You're Canadian.
Yeah,
You know
26 years ago, yeah.
It's a piece of history, you know.
So it was the Montreal screw job. So now I was supposed to wrestle Bret. So now Shawn becomes the world heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought Shawn Michaels would say no. You know what I mean? I don't want to wrestle him. I don't want to do that. So I'm sitting in a bar with Arnold Skolin, and he turns to Shawn. He was in a bar with Kevin Nash, it was, and Razor. And he says, you know who you're wrestling in the next Garden show? He goes, who? He goes, the Brooklyn Brawler. I said to myself, oh, here it goes. It's all over now. It's all over now. He goes, can you leapfrog? Can you super kick? Can you do this? Can you do that? He was totally 100% into it. So he went out there and he gave me 110%. He treated me like he was wrestling in a main event. You know, he just did everything to me. Hunter was jumping on the apron. I would hit him. I'd knock him off the apron. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can actually see that match if you look it up. But that's an interesting story right there.
Really,
the Montreal screw job right in between the win and the battle royal. You know, it was like, where's it going to go now?
So thank you so much for your 20 minutes generous time. This is very appreciated, honestly. And as usual, for closing this episode, Nostradamus Ben, it's all about the French prophet. So he tried to predict the future of our guests.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Yours?
First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Lombardi. It was an honor to speak with you.
Well, I appreciate being on there. You guys are real professionals. It's a great podcast. Are you in Montreal?
Quebec City.
From Quebec City at 3 hours of Montreal on the east side.
Okay, I used to wrestle in Montreal all the time.
Nice.
You know,
We are the Nordics, not the Canadians, the Nordics.
Yes, we are.
What was the Forum? Was it the Forum?
Bell Center in Montreal.
Forum was
many years ago.
The old amphitheater, and now in Montreal we have Bell Center. But in Quebec City we have a brand new amphitheater called Videotron Center. And recently we received a WWE Raw for the first time ever. So
August 21st.
Yeah.
Great. I used to love Montreal. I used to go to Giovanni's. Is that still there?
No.
No, God, Schwartz. Is Schwartz still there?
Schwartz is a restaurant.
It's a restaurant, right?
Yeah, William Gillil was the owner.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Still there?
I believe that it's closed.
Everything closed.
Yes, because the pandemic was very hard for the restaurant industry and bars, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
so,
good history, but his, memories last forever.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Lombardi, I predict to you one last appearance on Raw or on SmackDown as Brooklyn Brawler. Maybe Boston Brawler with Iron Reich. No, that's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. All right, so thank you so much for your time. And
thank you. I appreciate you guys asking me to be on. I endorse this podcast 100%.
Perfect.
Everyone, and thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care.